This is bridge jump number 1 of spring semester 2016 here at Beaverdick Park. We're gonna rock this. It's gonna be good.
No, it's not.
Yes,
no,
it
you're
is.
Gonna hit the bottom.
We got this. It's not even that deep. Look at that. It's great. All right, getting ready to jump.
Exploring nature's creations can be fun, but what happens when things go wrong? Well, you know what to do. What happens when a simple activity like bridge jumping turns into a one-way hellish ride to the ER?
Hey, I need you to go get me a towel and I need you to go get some help for me, please.
Luckily for our bridge jumping friend there was someone nearby trained in wilderness survival.
Alright, so he just fell off the... What was he doing before this? Don't mind me asking.
We were bridge jumping.
Okay, I need you to hold his head right in place. Okay. Okay, cool. Hey, sir. Sir, are you okay? You okay? So, he's absolutely right.
So I noticed a young man jumping off of a bridge, and then I noticed his girlfriend kind of screaming. And I was trying to think what was going on. I tried yelling at him, see if he was all right out there. He was floating down the river, kind of face down, so I knew he probably couldn't hear me. I noticed that he was probably unconscious. He wasn't flailing at all. So what we did was, I went out. I tried throwing some rope to him. I knew he was unconscious. He wouldn't reach for it. So what I did was I tied some rope around my waist and tried to get a C-spine lined up and brought him in from the water to prevent him from drowning. After that, what I did was first off, I always made sure the scene was safe, making sure the current wasn't, because if the current was way too fast, I would have been a patient myself. And I'm going to call ALS, so I need you to call ALS right now. All right. I'm gonna check his airway right now. Oh, hold on a second. There's water in here. Let's get. Okay. There we go. Okay. Let's see if he's breathing now. All right, he's breathing. I'm gonna check his pulse right now. All right, he has a pulse. I'm gonna check right now for a blood sweep, making sure that there's no blood coming out. Okay, he's not bleeding. Okay, I'm gonna check right now his circulation. Going to see if he's actually. So right now I'm testing capillary refill through his thumb, and what I'm doing is I'm pressing it down and seeing how fast it refills. So that's about a 2 seconds. So he's a little bit. Call ALS and had to have Ashton, his girlfriend, take C-spine during that time. So his head was inline mobilization. So then I had to check his airway. I always go through the ABCs after that. Checked his airway. There's water in his airway. I made sure that we tipped him over on his side, and at that point I checked out his bag, made sure that there's no back injuries going on, and he spit out the water so his airway wasn't compromised. And I checked for bleeding, and I checked for circulation. And with bleeding, there's no life-threatening bleeding at all, and there was no bleeding at all on him. And the circulation was good. I felt his pulse. His pulse was pretty rapid, which is another sign of a spinal injury. Is there anything like that has happened in his medical past that could have made this worse?
No.
Okay. Is he taking any medications right now?
I don't know. I don't think so.
Okay. Right now, I'm attempting to take a sample history. So right now, I'm going to check his head, see if there's any contusions coming in, not pressing too hard. Is there anything going on? No cracking? There's no cracking.
I don't feel anything where my hands are.
Okay. Right now, I'm also going to check his nose and check his head. Oh, there's some clear liquid coming out. He definitely has a spinal injury. At this time, you're going to keep his head right there.
Okay.
So I'm going to feel the back of his neck. Oh, yeah, there's some crepitus right here in his neck. I'm gonna check if there's any JVD. There's no JVD. All right. So now I'm gonna check his chest, see if there's anything going on with that. All right, there's nothing going on. I'm gonna check his legs, see if there's any crepitus in his femurs. All right, there's nothing going on here. Okay, there's no pain response. I'm gonna check his pulse motor sensory on his distal pedal pulse. All right, he has pulses right now. All right, so we got to get him out of here as soon as ALS arrives. We don't have the right stuff to package him up. So we are just going to have to we're going to have to stay here to make sure he is all right.
Should we cover him up while we're waiting?
Yes, we actually need to keep him out.
So he doesn't get so cold?
With a towel. Here you go. Keep his core temperature warm. All right, and there, everything's good. And after that, I attempted to take a sample history, making sure that he was not compromised by some other medical disorder going on behind that, like diabetes. He could have been passed out. It could have been something like that, but I ruled that out with asking the sample history. Then I went to the secondary assessment. That's when I found out that spinal injury, because I felt the crepitus on his cervical processes of his spine. Then after that, what I did was I checked for the cerebral spinal fluid coming out of his ears, and there was present. So I knew from there everything was, he had a spinal injury. We weren't able to get him out, and we needed to get ALS there immediately.
Now, because someone knew what they were doing, our bridge jumping friend was allowed to live. You see, when we study how to survive in the wilderness, things don't go wrong. Or as wrong.